Hey y'all, it's your girl Nate back with another video for Johnny Speaks. We're starting a new series here. We're gonna be calling it Bonnet Chronicles. So it's basically gonna be a story time, basically story time, but we calling it Bonnet Chronicles. And I'm gonna tell y'all different stories or things that's happening in my life or whatever. And so this one is going to be about my senior college graduation photo shoot. It's a whole fiasco. If you follow me on TikTok, if you follow me on Instagram, you kind of seen a little bit of it, but we're gonna get into depth into it right here. And I'm standing up because I just feel like it's gonna help me tell the story better. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn the notification bell ring on, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you do it because we're not letting up all summer. Like, we're not letting up. So join the game. Like, come on. If you ain't joined the family yet, I don't know why. If you ain't become a love yet, I don't know why. So go ahead right now and subscribe. And let's get into the story. Y'all probably like, why this girl calling this Bonnet Chronicles and why she up here with a bonnet on? Now, if you know me personally in my life, my family can contest to this in the comments and let y'all know I love a good bonnet, period. Like, I got every color, I got every size, I got ones with drawstrings on the inside, reversible, it don't matter, I got it. So I thought it was a good time to do that. And then back in the day, like back in high school, I used to call it Bonnet Chronicles, and I used to call my friends and we used to just talk about things that we knew. It was tea time basically, so that's why I'm calling it Bonnet Chronicles. But anyway, let's get into it. So if you don't know, now you know. I'm graduating college with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, which is extremely important to me. So I just wanted to commemorate that and make sure I got some really fun photo shoots. I'm very picky, very particular, so picking who I wanted was not an easy task. It took me forever to finally pick one for who I wanted. So I had one particular photographer in mind, and he's one of my fraternity brothers. He does amazing work, amazing editing, everything I wanted. However, he was booked up. So I hit him up. I'm like, hey, like, do you have any openings? He's like, no, I'm sorry, like, I don't have any openings to come to that school. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I need somebody who edits just as well as you, and who has the same level of skill as you. So can you recommend me to somebody? He sent me about 2 photographers for me to, you know, look through. And I found one of the ones that he sent me. You know, I ended up, you know, going with him. And I started looking through his Instagram. Like, okay, his work is good. This is something I like. His editing is really good. So I ended up picking him. So in March, I paid the deposit. I reached out to him in March. I'm like, hey, like, you know, my graduation is coming up. I want to do a shoot for the last week of April. Please let me know what it requires. He sent me all his booking information, his prices, everything. Wasted no time. Literally the next day, I booked him, paid the deposit, you name it, I did it. I followed all instructions, whatever. This is a month ago in March. If you don't know, if you follow me for a while, then you know, like, I've had a really difficult senior year, and so, you know, me graduating is really a big deal, and I wanted to commemorate that. I wanted to get, you know, some pictures in the video with, you know, some of the people who are important in my life edited. So if you don't know, my mom passed away, my uncle passed away, my granddad passed away, my aunt passed away, my cousin passed away. So it's definitely been a difficult journey for me, and I wanted to get some, you know, of them edited as angels in my pictures. So that's why I was very particular about who I wanted. So with those things in mind, if that makes sense. So it really meant a lot to me to have those pictures taken, and I just wanted to do something nice for myself because it had been such, you know, a difficult journey. So yeah, I booked him a month in advance. Cool. That was in March. I booked the photo shoot for April 30th at 1:00 p.m. So that was the time that we were supposed to meet, right? Mind you, this happened a month ago when I booked this, and I put this on this man's, you know, schedule. So the week of the photo shoot, I realized that it was going to rain the day that I wanted to do it. So I'm like, I booked the outside shoot. Me being somebody who's into business and knowing how things work in the business, like, people are very particular about what you book with them and, you know, completing that service. So I booked an outside shoot. So I'm like, you know, it might be raining or whatever. And if you're from, like, you know, where I'm in Louisville, like, you know, like, it's always subject to rain. So I hit him up. I'm like, hey, like, it's gonna be a storm apparently a week in advance. I already said that. So is it okay if we move the photo shoot inside? He's like, yeah, like, no problem. Like, you can move it inside. You know, I'm fine with that. Same price, same ordeal. I said, okay, cool. I know some people are very particular about what you book. He was like, yeah, nah, no problem. You good. So that was me again confirming my appointment for April 30th at 1:00 p.m. With him a week in advance. Cool. Then hit him up. The shoot was on a Saturday. I hit him up on Thursday. I'm like, hey, like, The weather cleared up, so we're good to go outside. I'm like, I know I paid my deposit. Like, what's my balance? I could pay that to you right now, type junk. Like, but I didn't. And ultimately, like, something in me told me not to pay him the full price. I was just like, you know, let me just wait or whatever. So I'm like, how much, like, where can I pay you? Like, Zelle, Cash App, like, what's the final payment? Because I know some people prefer their payments to be in cash. So I'm like, you know, what do you want me to do? And he was like, oh, it doesn't matter. We Cash App Zelle. I said, okay, cool. So that was Thursday, right? Saturday, the day of the shoot came. I'm like, okay, it's Saturday. I got up really early. I had an early hair appointment. I had a hair appointment at 6 a.m. I had a makeup appointment at 10 because I got, you know, 20-inch bust down. Like it was supposed to be outside. So yeah. So I booked him, did all that good stuff or whatever the case may be. Hit him up on Thursday to confirm my appointment. Like, hey, like, oh, it's gonna clear up. Like we good to go. He like, yeah, cool. I'm like, all right. Saturday come. After I got my makeup done, about 12 o'clock, I'm like, oh man, like I gave him the address, but I didn't tell him where to specifically meet me on campus. And if you know, like campus, like you could give somebody an address, but you need to tell them the building and what it looks like. So I'm like, hey, like meet me at the building with the big statue in front, and that's where we're gonna do the shoot at. I texted him that at 12 o'clock, right? No response, not one. So I started to get a little worried or whatever. So I started talking to my roommate, talking to some of my family. I'm like, yeah, he didn't respond, whatever. They're like, well, it's 12 o'clock, you know, he is in the next city over, which is like a 30-40 minute drive, and he was traveling to Louisville, so it was like, you know, maybe he's driving. I'm like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. He's possibly driving, so I didn't really worry about it or whatever, so I'm getting dressed. 12:50 come, I'm like, oh shoot, it's 12:50, but mind you, I live on campus, so I knew I could get there in 5 minutes anyway. So I text him like, hey, I'm on my way, like let me know when you're there. I'm gonna insert the screenshots of all of this happening. So yeah, so I text him like, hey, like I'm on my way, like, you know, I'm coming around the corner, I might be like 2 minutes late or whatever the case may be. No response. I had my sorority sister come pick me up and everything because I don't drive, and so I wanted to have, you know, somebody with me to help me, and I didn't want to do anything by myself. So we were waiting in the car. 1:10 came. I'm like, where is he? I'm like, maybe he's not. Maybe he's like running late. Nothing. 1:30 came. Still nothing. So at this point, I started DMing his business page. I started checking his page. I found his number because, you know, when you pay somebody through Cash App or Apple Pay, they give you your number. So I started checking. I started calling number. I'm like, maybe he's not answering because I have a New Jersey number. So I called from my sorority sister's phone. I'm like, hey, like, call you from your phone because you have a Kentucky phone number. Still no answer. At this point, it's like 1:30, 1:35. Still nothing. Still didn't show up. Nothing. No response. I checked his personal page. He posted on his page 2 hours before the shoot. So it was like, all right, you was up and alert, so you knew you had a shoot. So everybody was like, you need to go off of him. I'm like, nah, you know, he maybe has an accident. If you know me, like, you know, like I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. So I'm like, man, maybe he had an accident. Like, I'm not about to go off on this man, and he had an accident, so I just didn't do so. But something in my spirit told me, you know, that something wasn't right. And so therefore my roommate did some investigating, y'all. So as I'm in the car freaking out, my roommate is investigating. So I get home all upset. I mean, I took some pictures on my phone. My sorority sister helped me out or whatever. You could go look at that on my TikTok, on my Instagram, because it's up there. And it came out really, really good. Or I'll insert it here, whatever. But yeah, while we're doing that and I come home, my roommate's like, girl. I'm like, what? So it was this thing here, we're in Kentucky, so it was this thing going on called a juice jam. If you don't know, I'm a Zeta, but yeah. It's this thing going on called a juice jam. And if you're Greek, you already know what a juice jam is. It's kind of like an outing, you know, where the different Greek organizations come out, cook out, hang out, whatever. So it was a juice jam going on in the next city over, possibly like an hour away or whatever the case may be. Mind you, I had intentions on going to this same juice jam, but that's neither here nor there. So we did some investigating. We found out that the person who was doing it recently came out in a Greek organization. So it was like, oh, okay, like you joined the Greek org or whatever, like a week or so beforehand. So I assumed that this juice jam was probably like their first, you know, outing as Greek or whatever, which is a big deal. If you're Greek, you know. But anyhow, so yeah, so we did some investigating, and you know, he didn't post anything on his personal story, but if you know, the girls be looking. The girls is FBI investigators. My roommate found some of his brothers, his fraternity brothers' pages, and he was on their stories, and they talking about some, oh, today about to be a good day, today about to be lit. Sir, you supposed to be lit here, taking my pictures, like not lit there. So I was like, oh, so he like blatantly just ignored me. Like this man didn't even have an emergency or forget. Like, he knew what he was doing. So I was like super upset and I was mad, but I was just like, it's no need for me to go off on this man. Like, God got me, whatever. I mean, I at least want to give him a day to respond, but I'm like, bro, like, he really played in my face. Like, he out having a good old time. And I'm like, bro, like, I was going to the same event and I ended up not going because I was so mad and upset that I didn't want to go anywhere or whatever. I literally was going to come from my photo shoot, change my clothes, and head out to the same event. We could have been on the same energy. And I'm like, and if that's what you wanted to do, like, you could have asked me to reschedule. I would have preferred you cancel than you for not to show up. I would have been disappointed regardless, but it's the principle of the fact. And I'm like, you could have, I'm Greek. If you would have paid attention to who your client was, you would have been like, all right, sis is Greek too. Like, maybe she'll understand. And I would have been like, we could reschedule or we could do an earlier time or a different day. Because I wasn't doing nothing the whole week and I didn't mind. You know, my friend was doing my hair. I could have probably got her to do it a different day. Everything. So it was just like the principle of the fact that you did that. So I'm like, I'm gonna give him a day to respond. If he don't respond or send my deposit back, it's gonna be a problem. And that's when I'm gonna go off. Cool. I wake up the next morning. I don't have my Instagram notifications on or whatever. I highly recommend this if you're just trying to get detached from social media. But I don't get notifications when I get a like, a DM, comment, follow, nothing. I don't have none of that on. So in order for me to see things, I basically have to go on the Instagram app, swipe, and go look. Highly recommend. It's definitely a good thing. So I woke up this morning and I slid over to my DM and I see that I have a message from the photographer. He sent me a message at 3 o'clock in the morning, y'all. 3 a.m. I assume after he got in from the juice jam that I wanted to go to myself. And he basically was like, oh, I'm gonna insert the message right here, y'all. He basically, it's gonna be right there. He basically was like, hey, like, I hadn't checked my business page all day. So he was like, yeah, I hadn't checked my business page all day. I'm so sorry. It was extremely unprofessional of me. It is no excuse. And then he proceeded to offer me a free shoot in return for the missed photo shoot and the disappointment. He basically apologized for, you know, me not having a good day. I have a couple problems with this message. One being, how are you going to say you didn't check your business page all day when I booked you and put myself on your schedule a month ago? It don't have nothing to do with you checking your DM. Like, if I book with you, I should be on your schedule and you should know where you need to be when you're on a business. It don't matter if you didn't check your DM, if you didn't check your messages. Like, I paid you a deposit. I told you a date. I told you a time. We both agreed. We both confirmed. So therefore, you should have been there regardless. Not only that, I didn't just DM your Instagram or message your Instagram or call your Instagram. I called your phone, which means that you did not answer my phone call, which means that you ignored me. So I'm like, that has something to do with it. So I'm already mad. In my head, I'm like, I don't even want the free shoot no more. It's not even free because I paid you a deposit and I hadn't received my deposit back. So, and I'm like, you were unprofessional the first time. Like, why would I rely on you again? You know, this is something that's extremely important to me. Like, it's my college graduation. Like, where I come from, people do not graduate college. It's not a thing and it's not a norm. So, you know, I was extremely excited. I'm like, I refuse to let you disappoint me again. But after talking to my family, they were just like, you know, see what he's talking about, see if you get a free shoe or whatever, just take it. I said, okay, cool. I respond back and I'm saying, hey, thank you for your apology or whatever. I was extremely disappointed. I would love to take pictures with my family the day of graduation. So if you could do that, like, that would kind of make up for it, I guess you could say. You know what he did? My boy left me on scene. He didn't respond or nothing, but he's watching my story though. And I assume that he was watching to make sure I didn't blackball him or anything like that. But yeah, so you know, I just kept getting mad. I was trying to figure out what my next move was going to be because I'm like, how are you going to offer about a free shoot and then when I inquire about the free shoot, you don't respond? Like, how would that work? So y'all know what I did. I kept going back to the messages and the messages is right there so y'all can see what I'm talking about. But at the top of the message, it says the symbol at and it says silent. I'm like, what does that mean? So me being me, investigative, you know, social media guru because I'm trying to be an influencer, I go to the DM and I press at silent. You learn something new every day. When you put at silent in the DM, it says something about like basically it sends the message without notifying the person that you sent it. So basically my boy was sending a message to me and didn't want me to know that I got it, is what I assume. And I'm like, why would he do something like that? Like, why would you not want me to know that you were offering me a free shoe? After he didn't respond, I went back on Instagram upset. He ended up sending, he did send my deposit back. I will give him that. He sent my deposit back, but you still didn't respond after I inquired about a free shoot. It's beyond me. And like, I just did not appreciate you know, that you did that. And the fact that I went back and it said at silent just proved to me that, like, you did not want to wrong your right, and you just wanted to make it seem like you did, but in reality you didn't. So I ended up, you know, doing some shoots on my phone or whatever, and I made this video just to say to be careful about the things that you speak over your life, and to be aware of the things that God is doing in your life. Okay, I'm gonna get deep into that in 1 second. Just stay with me. So, like I said, my senior year was far from easy. I've had an extremely tough year, back-to-back loss in my family, just a crazy year. And I just been through so much, like it makes no sense. And I just repeatedly kept saying, I have the worst luck. Why do I have bad luck? And as I was saying that, you know, my friend Ajane, she DM'd me, she slept and was like, stop saying that, like stop speaking that over your life. And not only that, my cousin, she's really big about the things that we say, and about our faith. And so, you know, she got on me too, like stop saying that. There's a blessing in everything. There's a blessing in every disguise. It's a disguise in everything. And I'm like, I don't see it. Like I don't see the blessing. Like I keep getting hit. Like what is, like I don't know what God is trying to show me. And this girl that I knew from school, she stood up and she was like, girl, like, where are you at? You still got your makeup on. I will take pictures for you, da da da. She came, she took pictures of me for her camera, edited and everything. And I appreciated her so much and didn't want me to pay her anything, like nothing, for the shoot. And after that, like, so many people were offering to take pictures for me and everything. And I'm just like, John Day, like, God was like, don't spend no money. Like, this is a big accomplishment for you. Let me help you out. Let me give you a blessing in disguise. And it was just, obviously I paid her a little something because I don't do stuff like that, but I was just like, Johnny, stop speaking negative things over your life, bro. Like, God has shown you so many times that have bamboozled you into a lot of things. I'm reading this book called Bamboozled by Jesus, and it applies to my life so much right now. Like, I even went back to some of my old like tweets and like old things that I used to say in messages, and I told myself 4 years ago in 2018 in July, I told myself that I was failing and I wasn't going to graduate college. 4 years later, I'm graduating college, magna cum laude. I think that's how you say it. Never received anything less than a B. Have so many accolades. I've served on e-boards. I've been in organizations. I did it. Like, I accomplished so much. And I just can't believe that I spoke that over myself. And that's a prime example of God being like, girl, stop playing in my face like that. Like, you have so much to be grateful for. You have so many blessings that I'm giving you, and you're not even seeing them. And I'm like, you know what, God? Like, you got it. Like, for real. So I'm just blessed. I'm blessed, honestly. But, you know, thank you for watching my video. That's the end of the story time. I know it wasn't much, but I just wanted to get it out and, you know, just express how I was feeling. Because a lot of people were asking me questions about, you know, did I get the deposit back? Just different things. So I appreciate y'all. As always, everything is everything. Peace, blessings, prosperity. Make sure you follow me, subscribe, and look at the other